Well, 100 fighter jets, a team of rescue helicopters, and to paraphrase one Pentagon official, a message that Israel wanted Iran and the rest of the world to hear loud and clear. It's our top story at the bottom of the hour. Sources in the Israeli military confirming a massive military exercise last month. While Israel is not saying if the mission was a dry run for an attack on Iran, one detail seems especially telling. An Israeli pilot says he was part of the drill, flying about 900 miles west from Tel Aviv across the Mediterranean Sea, and that is roughly the same distance from Tel Aviv to a uranium enrichment plant in Iran, the Natanz enrichment plant. Israel says Iran is trying to use that facility to build nuclear weapons. Steve Emerson's here now, counterterrorism and Middle East expert. Great to see you. All right, so is this a dry run in earnest, or is this an effort, a show of military force and capability to try to intimidate, maybe pressure Iran?
I think it's both. And I think there's a third factor also. It's to let the world know, especially the United States, that if the West doesn't act, the Israelis will act. So maybe it's a combination of all three.
Yeah. The Israelis took out Iraq's nuclear facility, I don't know, 20-some-odd years ago. More than that, really. Take a look at the map right here, because the Iranians may have learned from that experience, and they have reportedly hidden a lot of their nuclear facilities in various locations, secret underground. Do we have the map? Put it up. There it is. All right. Let's assume the Israelis, or the U.S. for that matter, engages in a tactical airstrike. Could we hit all of them?
There's no way they can hit all of them. They don't have the strength, the strategic strength, the capability of doing that. But they can hit maybe 5% of them. And if you take out 5% of their capability of enrichment, you can retard their development of a nuclear facility or production by maybe 10 or 15 years. After all, what they're doing is buying time.
Iran has reportedly reinforced the two main sites, Isfahan and Natanz. And I read somewhere, I can't remember where, that in order to take those out, you would have to use near nuclear penetration bombs. What do you think?
Well, it's possible, and especially if they get SS-20 missiles to protect them. They'll definitely need bunker buster bombs. The question is, will they need tactical nukes in order to penetrate? And I think they're prepared to use them in order to break up the Natanz facility.
All right. The direct route to Iran from Israel would be over Iraq. We control the airspace, the U.S. What are the global consequences of that? Do we give permission? Do we need to?
Well, the question is, do the Israelis request permission? And if they request permission, that means they're tipping their hand, which means that they could be subject to political pressure. So I don't know that the Israelis are going to ask for it. They may just take the route unilaterally.
And we would do what?
Well, we wouldn't do anything. Personally, I think that the U.S. and the West somehow would like to see the Israelis do this, even though they say they don't.
You sure we wouldn't do anything?
Well, there might be some political penalties subjected to Israel, or some moratorium. I mean, after the 1981 Osirak reactor, there was a moratorium on military sales to Israel.
We wouldn't do something behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes in what way?
Well, I mean, pressure them not to do it, or will we turn a blind eye and say, you shouldn't do that, wink, wink?
Well, that, I think, is the more likely scenario.
Okay.
I don't think that... Look, it's possible if we ask for... If the Israelis are asked for airspace, the U.S. then really could pressure them, and then the Israelis are in a bind. Do they disobey the United States or not?
Quick question. Containment and deterrence. It worked with the Soviets. It would not work with the Iranians if they had nuclear capability?
Unfortunately, the Iranians have a martyrdom complex, and they're willing to die. And you know, they've already said that they're willing to kill 1 million Israelis, even if they suffer a retaliatory strike of 5 million Iranians.
Ahmadinejad yearns for Armageddon.
Well, the destruction of Israel is one of his strategic goals.
Steve Emerson, frightening scenario. Thanks very much.
Sure.